Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the AI Learning Lab. Got a situation going on in the hair department, but that's part of the situation. Welcome to the AI Learning Lab. If you're new to generative AI, that's what this is all about. Well, even if you're not new to generative AI, it's still about this. We are talking about ChatGPT and the like, and anything else we want to talk about, because that's how we roll. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Sunday night. I've not been thinking about AI much today, so I don't have a ton of new updates. But good evening. Very sorry I missed your answer a couple of days ago about best way to clone my voice. Oh yeah, you missed a good one. I did it good. I did 11 labs and DID. I can show that again tonight. Mr. Stone. Let's see. Is it hot? It is hot. But is it cooling enough that I should have the window open? Or should I put on the air conditioner? Choices. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Do me a favor if you would, hit the like button, share the live. Let's see if we can get some folks out there joining in the fun. My glasses are incredibly dirty. Just doing life maintenance over here. Welcome everybody to the AI Learning Lab. Kyle Smith, another Kyle in the house. Looks like the numbers are not updating again. How many folks we have in here now? I'm showing 10. And it looks like there's more than that I'm seeing names pop up. Nice likes. Oh yeah, there's definitely a day. 132. Holy crap. Oh yeah, now it says 137. Okay. Welcome everybody. My name is Kyle Shannon. This is the AI Learning Lab. Let me flip over. So here's the deal. I'm an entrepreneur. My background is I've started 12 or 15 companies. One of the companies I started in the mid-90s was called agency.com. It was one of the first digital agencies. So I got to experience the early days of the World Wide Web and got to ride that rocket ship up and down and through the dot-com bubble burst. And ended up selling that company to Omnicom in 2002. But this generative AI stuff, this ChatGPT thing, what is this ChatGPT thing? It is very, very similar to the early days of the web, and I think it's going to be significantly more profound. And I think it is coming much, much quicker than the web came. The web took about 6 years to get to 100 million users. ChatGPT took about 6 weeks. So this channel is all about talking about kind of post-ChatGPT inflection point. Sort of, for the last 9 months, we've been dealing with this new generative AI thing. What is it? What's it mean? That's what this channel is all about. So if you have questions about AI, pop them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. I swear occasionally, so if you don't like that, get the fuck out. What else? I tend to get a little smarmy as the night goes on. I do try to answer all the questions. So fair warning, I will get behind on the questions. You can make money with ChatGPT. Thank you, Chat. Yeah, I don't like those people that say that, but it's become kind of a funny meme in the channel. I love you, Kyle. Does anybody else love Kyle? Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate that. You chased some away. We were up to 170. Now we're down to 140. So I don't think they do. I think they're like, who's this old guy? What the fuck's going on with his hair? Why did he swear at us? All right, let's get started here. Oh, let me tell you what the... Okay, so... This used to be 3 sites. Now it's 5, and it's probably going to be 7 at some point. And then at some point I'm going to have to narrow it down. But basically, these are what I'm considering the major players in the ChatGPT game. There's another one out there called Pi.ai, that is at least in the neighborhood of a major player. They just raised $1.3 billion. So let's call them a major player. But their model is not quite as capable as what a lot of these are doing. It's just different. It's a bit more conversational. So chat.openai, that's the official ChatGPT website. If you haven't played with ChatGPT, just go there. Go there right now while you listen to this old man ramble on about this shit and start playing. Ask it to write you a poem. Ask it to write you a song. Ask it to write you a Python application. Just have it create a meal plan for your family for the next week, and then turn that meal plan into a shopping list of ingredients, and then have it sort those ingredients by section of the grocery store. Do anything. Just go do something. The thing down below here, prompts.chat, that's a document that'll talk to you about how to talk to these tools. These are all sort of different flavors of the same thing. Bing.com is also ChatGPT. It's GPT-4. It's free. So if you go to Bing.com, click on the chat button, that's GPT-4. You can generate images there. You can read images there. Like you can upload an image to it and tell it to just describe it to you or write advertising copy about that image, and it will do it. It's free. It's connected to the internet. It's quite remarkable what you get to do for free there. GPT-4 at OpenAI site's $20. Then another free one. This one's brand new. This is Claude 2, and it's Anthropic's competitor to GPT-4. It's got a 100,000 token context window, meaning you can upload about, I don't know, somewhere between 50 and 75,000 words into your prompt, into your chat. So you could take your great American novel, pop it in there, and start editing it with that thing. Or whatever. It's amazing. And then Poe.com has a bunch of different models, and Bard.google.com is getting an honorable mention right now. It wasn't on the list for a long time because it sucks so bad, but it's gotten better. And it's they're on their way. It's still not great, but they're on their way. So that's that. And then if you really want specific tools, like something for music or video or things like that, Futurepedia.io is a big list of AI tools. So with that, let's get to the questions. Let's go to the videotape. I'm a physician. I did AI research 30 years ago. Who's advancing the medical front? I think lots of people are advancing the medical front. I mean, the thing about the AI world, AI's been around for, like you say, decades. The thing that's different now is since the advent of the transformer model that Google introduced in 2017, that's the thing that's been driving all these innovations that we're playing with today. So what the transformer allowed researchers to do is train these large language models on massive data sets. So they trained them on, kind of all of the internet. And so these tools are just incredibly powerful. You don't have to bring your own data. You can, augment your data with these large language models. So I think there's lots of people working on medical, the people that have been doing it before, but now you're going to have a whole rash of people doing things on top of it. Google just announced 3 days ago a thing called MedPalm. Let me make sure I get the name right, which is a large language model that's been trained up on medical data specifically. I think it's Google MedPalm. Yeah, med-palm. So if you go to sites.research.google/medpalm, a large language model from Google Research designed for the medical domain. And just trying to look at when it came out. That was May 11th. They had a new announcement this week. Oh, MedPalm 2. Here we go. Nope, that's April 13th. Anyway, go look up MedPalm. Here's July 8th. Okay. This is from The Verge. Google's medical AI chatbot is already being tested in hospitals. The Mayo Clinic has reportedly been testing the system since April. Okay, so it came out in April, and it looks like, it's in the world. Mayo Clinic. There you go. Mayo Clinic's doing it. Pa-da-pa-pa. Hey man, really important. I got to stick a. Oh, Joe Black, you're cute. It'll work itself out. It'll be tasty. All right. Please do it. Daily summary at the beginning, middle, and end of the TikTok. Okay. I didn't. I was busy doing a bunch of other stuff today, so I didn't do a ton of research on. I didn't see any major new things. It was a big end of last week, so I don't have a big update today on news. So I mean, I can talk about what I talked about last week, but do I don't even have the URL still up? No, I don't have the article still up. So I'll get back to him. Leonardo came out with a new model. Check out Leonardo.ai. If you're not on it, get on it. Get on the wait list. And then apparently with Leonardo.ai, if you get on the wait list and go to their Facebook group and sign up for their Facebook group, they'll immediately grant you access to Leonardo.ai. But it's a very, very good site that is built on top of Stable Diffusion. And it's easier than Midjourney. You don't have to go to Discord. It's just a website, and it's quite good. And they give you 150 credits a day, and it's about 18 or 20 credits to produce 4 images. So, you can do for free, you can do a handful of images. And then if you pay for it, you can do lots. Lots. I don't like Bard at all. I hated Bard for a while. It's at least tolerable now. And there's some interesting things you can do there. It can read images just like Bing can. One of the guys in the AI salon that I run uploaded a sketch of a website like they did in the OpenAI demo when they announced GPT-4. He uploaded a sketch of a website and said, "Build me a website, that looks like this," and it did. And one of the guys in the salon did that with Bard.com. So he uploaded a sketch of a website, and it actually wrote the code to make functional buttons on a website. The T-shirt today is just some sort of album. Do 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 boo do do. A lot of butter jokes going on in the comments here. I approve. Is somebody eating popcorn? Just joining. Anybody figure out a way around the internet being disabled? I think that might be a local issue. I think we'd have heard about that on the news. Let me see. Let's wait. Well, we'll go ask Bing. Let's go ask Bing. I'm going to try a new thing today, too. Bing. We're going to go to Bing Chat. And has the internet been disabled? All right, Bing's going to tell us. And I'm in more precise mode, so it definitely won't hallucinate. I'm sorry, but I don't have any information about the internet being disabled globally. It's possible that there may be local issues. All right, we're okay. It's okay. Bing told us the internet has not been shut down. We're good. We're good for at least an hour. What are you talking about, Moody? I have no reference for what you're talking about. X.ai. What about it? They made some announcements. That's Elon Musk's new competitor. Yeah, they'll go up there when they have something to play with. The reason I have these there, these are all things that I think anyone who hasn't played with, these tools, might want to experiment or start with. And there's a bunch of free options there. Claude.ai is a definite true competitor to ChatGPT. It's a bunch of ex OpenAI people, and that site's actually quite powerful. The language stuff isn't quite up to the quality of GPT-4, but it's quite good. It's quite powerful. And the fact that you can have a 100,000 token context window is huge. What is your go-to prompt for getting the AI to act like an expert in a specific field? So the reason go to prompts.chat, that little second URL from the bottom, prompts.chat, go there. That is a whole list of exactly what you're asking for. Act like an accountant, act like a screenwriter, act like a comedian, act like an idiot. You don't have to get super fancy with those. Generally, what you want to do is you want to give the thing a role. So I want you to act like this kind of role, which kind of narrows the context a little bit. And then I'm going to be giving you, some things to accomplish, or, here's the things I want you to do. And then you give it the specifics. And that set of three contexts, who it is, the role it plays, what its general tasks are, the milestones, and then what the specifics are, and then you get into specific back and forth prompting. The other thing you can do is very often if you prompt it and just say, I want you to act like this, that, and the other thing, and just hit return, it'll just start talking to you. So one of the things you can do is you can give it these little contexts and say, I don't want you to answer yet. I just want you to let me know if you understand. And it'll say, yes, I understand. And then you say, okay, here's another piece of information. I don't want you to do anything yet. I just want to make sure you understand. So you can give it a set of instructions and make sure that it understands all of those, and then start to get into asking it questions, doing things like that. So that's kind of how I approach it. The big shift for me with large language model prompting versus Google searches, because they look similar, but they're not. Google wants you to put as concise a prompt in there as possible, right? I just want this thing, and they're going to give you back that answer. These large language models, they need a lot more context because they're the way they do what they do, they're pulling from a massive data corpus. Not that Google's isn't massive, but what it's returning is a list of links, which is from an index. So it's a very different thing than here's all of the words in all of the languages, in all of their different semantic meanings. And I'm going to start doing probabilities on the words. So the more context you give to these tools, the better they get. And so that's something that I had to relearn, is that it's much more like a conversation with a very simple person that's a genius. These are like idiot savants. They need a lot of direction. They need a lot of focus, but then they know everything. So I'm going to turn on the air. It's getting a little warm in here. It's getting a little warm in the learning lab. Da-da-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Ba-da-ba-ba, ba-da-da-da. What up, homie? How are you? I'm doing good, Doug Lee. What kind of interesting stuff are you doing in here? Real quick math. In 2022, IBM divested and spun off their Watson Health division. Yep. Why did IBM Watson fail? I don't know. Probably, I would think that there's a couple of things behind it. Watson was machine learning technology that was pre-transformer. Everyone that I know that was working in AI, for the past decade, working with old modalities, basically, are a little blown away by what these tools are doing. So there might have just been some of the tech might have not quite been there. It might have been data set. I don't know. I don't know the details of it. But the healthcare space, I do a lot of work. So my company's called Storyvine. We do a lot of work in healthcare and pharma, and it's such a regulated environment, and hospitals in particular are so resistant to change. It takes such a different mentality to innovate in that space, and it's really hard and it's really slow. So it might have just been a thing where they weren't getting the traction they needed, and they said, "Hey, we just don't. This isn't." This isn't delivering the level of results we want, so let's just spin it off. I find it ironic that, what was it, 4 months ago, they announced Watson X, which is a large language model. It's a rebranding of Watson. It's a reintroduction of Watson going, we can do AI too, right? So ChatGPT, the reason we're seeing all these competitors, and the reason Elon Musk is starting a new company, and the reason Inflection just raised $1.3 billion, all of this stuff is happening because ChatGPT went from 0 to 100 million users in 6 weeks. Sam Altman didn't expect that. Microsoft didn't expect that. Google certainly didn't fucking expect that. So ChatGPT being such an immediate hit changed everything. So one of the things that I heard about IBM, which is fascinating, is that they created an AI center of excellence across IBM. They have 150 or 200,000 employees. They have a lot of employees. They have 1,000 people at IBM writing prompts for this stuff, for this new stuff. So everyone's heading this direction. Why? Because these tools are so powerful. You're live. Awesome. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Yeah, if you're new here, pop any questions you have down below. I'll do my best to answer them. Where do you find all these AIs? I don't really have a life. I'm running my company, and I kind of spend every waking moment these days trying to figure this stuff out. And it's, I'm not, so Matt Wolf, who does Futurepedia.io, there's like 3,700, last time I looked, it was 3,700 AI tools there. I've given up on following any of the open source things. I've given up on following any of the tactical specific tools, like, here's the music generator. Here's other than Runway ML, I'm not really dicking around too much with video. Like all the specific tools, specific tools for writing copy or doing real estate marketing or building websites. I'm just go to Futurepedia.io. I'm not paying attention to any of those. Where I'm putting my attention is the core large language models. So the large companies building these large language models that all these other applications are going to be built on, because these are going to be the engines that drive everything else. And I just, for me, it feels very important to understand the nuances between these, what the different things are good at, and try to read the tea leaves about what's coming and what are the implications. Like, for example, if you haven't played with Code Interpreter at ChatGPT, just ate dinner. If you haven't played with Code Interpreter at ChatGPT, it is mind-numbingly powerful. It's insanely powerful. And I know nothing about data analytics, but I can see that what that is a superpower, right, for anyone with any kind of data, which is essentially any business these days, right? So I'm spending my time trying to look at what these tools are, what they do, what makes them unique. Like Claude having a 100,000 word context window. To put that in context, ChatGPT currently has a 4,000 word context window, which means it's got like this 3,000 word sliding window that is its memory for your chat session. So if you've ever worked with ChatGPT and all of a sudden it seems like it forgot the early shit that you were talking about, that's because it forgot the early shit you were talking about, because that early shit popped out of that sliding context window, right? Claude has a 100,000 token context window, so it's 75,000 words, right? So it's a lot bigger than ChatGPT. So even if the writing capability of Claude isn't as powerful as GPT-4, the fact that you've got this massive context window is a big, big deal, and it's a reason to use it. And just all that sort of stuff. Bard, from what I understand, is better at code. ChatGPT now has Code Interpreter, which is just insanity. If you watch it do what it does, I'll show you. It's an amazing thing. So anyway, and I find them on. I just pay attention to Twitter. I follow people on Twitter. I find people like Andre Karpathy, who's one of the founders of OpenAI, and he posts a lot. I find people like Ethan Mollick, who's a Wharton professor, who's been doing amazing posts about all this stuff. And so I go look at who they follow on Twitter, and I follow them. So I just start following people who the people that I respect are following. And within about 15 minutes, you can have a pretty solid list to follow on Twitter. And then just pay attention to it. Look at it 2 or 3 times a day and go play with stuff. And start to get a critical eye, understand the strengths and weaknesses of these things. One of the things we did the other night on the live, someone asked, can these things write a joke? And I was like, yeah, probably not. It ain't going to be funny, but let's go see. So I came up with a joke premise, and we told it to act like a stand-up comedian or a comedy writer and write a joke about this premise about how avocados, are not ripe and suddenly they're overripe, right? And we went to all these different tools and had it try to write the joke, and they were all bad except for GPT-4. It was the only one that actually wrote a joke. I mean, Bing wrote a joke, but it was as if Microsoft wrote it. It was really bad. I was referring to ChatGPT. Moody, where was that before? What were you saying before? Just joining. Anybody figure out? Oh, about ChatGPT being down. Was it down today? Code Interpreter was down yesterday or the day before, but that's just because they were fixing stuff. Here I am at ChatGPT. Oh yeah, I'm gonna instead of typing, instead of forcing you to watch me type, which I know is painful, I'm starting to use my microphone on my Mac. Write me a poem that explains the concepts of quantum mechanics like an Eminem rap. It's going. Yo, let's dive into the deep end, my friend. Quantum mechanics ain't no child pretend. All right, it's working. It's going. It's doing its thing. It was probably just a hiccup. I know they're working on a lot of stuff over at OpenAI right now. I have this strong suspicion that there's a lot of legal conversations going on over there. They cut a deal with the Associated Press on Friday, and they cut a deal with Shutterstock on Thursday, and they pulled down Browse with Bing, the connection to the internet, last week because OpenAI was stealing content from behind paywalls. And I think they got a call from Time Inc. that said, "Hey, you're sharing our content that people should be paying for," and that's bad. So I think there's a lot of holes being plugged right now, is my sense. But the good news, the good news about things like them cutting a deal with the Associated Press means that we're going to start to see specific flavors of things like ChatGPT. Like imagine a mode in ChatGPT where you can restrict the sort of world of information it's looking at to the Associated Press. So I want to learn about Middle East peace, but I only want it to pull from Associated Press, documents. We'll start to see things like that, and I think that's gonna make things really, really interesting. Is Fran Drescher your president? No, I have a degree in acting and I've written 7 screenplays, but I understand why they're striking. I empathize with it. I think some of the AI issues they can fight it, but they can only fight it for so long. I think it's inevitable that what these tools are going to do to the creative arts, to writing, to acting, to voiceover, to post-production, to pre-production, to marketing, to thought leadership, to consulting, to everything, are going to be incredibly disruptive and ultimately innovative. But almost every business model is going to be forced through a new gauntlet of innovation. So just like when the streaming companies started streaming content and weren't paying for any of it, and then they cut deals with the studios and did all that sort of stuff, and they were shitty deals, but like they're not going back because you're not going to uninvent streaming. Same with this stuff. So while I empathize with what they're fighting for, and they should absolutely fight to get as much as they can, like the one thing that the studio is saying, we're going to do something groundbreaking with AI. We'll pay people for one day, scan their likeness, and then use that likeness for all of eternity and never have to pay them again. Isn't that awesome? And the actors are like, fuck no. But what the studios are going to do is go, oh, okay, if you don't want us to pay you for a day, then we'll just synthesize them entirely. Like, we don't need your likeness. We're good. We'll just go make it in Midjourney. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's crazy. Crazy. Why do people need to learn this isn't... Wait. What? Why do people need to learn this? Isn't it pretty self-sufficient? Why do people need to learn this stuff? Isn't it pretty self-sufficient? Well, it is and it's not. If you've got so if you're an engineer, if you're a programmer, a coder, and you understand how to think, in logical expressions, that's what you're doing here. You're just doing it with the English language or whatever your native language is. People that are either not writers or are not used to thinking in logical expressions don't know what to do with this stuff, right? It's just a search bar, right? So you just type in, what was the score of the, who won Wimbledon? And ChatGPT goes, my latest information is September 2021. Why do you ask? And like people are like, well, what is this thing? It's useless. Or they put in, do this math calculation, and then it does it wrong. And they're like, well, this is stupid. It lied to me. Write me an opinion piece on this thing and give me the citations of the articles you used to come up with that opinion. And then the articles are fake articles that don't actually exist. They're like, well, this is bullshit. So people that have not been playing. So here's the thing. Here's what this channel's about. I'm not a machine learning guy. I'm an entrepreneur. I've started 12 or 15 companies. My jam, the thing that really lights me up, is once technology gets to the point that the rest of us can use it, that's when I like to innovate. I don't like to create the technology. So if you've been in machine learning for the past 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, this shit seems trivial to you. But it's trivial in an interesting kind of way. So in the early days of the World Wide Web, the internet had been around for decades. And who was using it? Well, it was mostly researchers and scientists and computer science people and programmers and engineers and universities. And then Tim Berners-Lee invents this thing called the World Wide Web, where you can just make a couple of tags and you make this thing called a page, and it's got blue underlined words on it. And if you click on those, they jump you to some other page anywhere in the world. That was revolutionary because you just had to do this. So all of a sudden, the thing went from command line, you have to be a geek to use it, to I can use the internet. Click, 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 click. And that transformed everything. But it wasn't until it made escape velocity beyond the geeks and said, hey, rest of the world, there's this thing called the internet you can click on. Want to click on it? Oh, cool. Oh, now I'm looking at something that was written in Africa. Oh, now I'm in China. Now I'm in Japan. Now I'm in Texas. Oh, that's cool. This is exactly like that. It's been around for decades. Machine learning, neural networks, AI, all this shit. TensorFlow, transformers, GAN networks. It's been around. ChatGPT is this, it's the equivalent of this was, World Wide Web to the internet. That's the difference. And so why people need to use it is they're like, what the fuck is everyone talking about? Why are they so excited about this? And the thing that really gets me excited is when I'm in the presence of people that have what I call the Kevin McAllister moment, right? From Home Alone. It can do that. And so that's why I put these up here. So if you haven't played with ChatGPT, if you're just sitting on the sidelines and heard that the robots are going to kill us, and you've seen too many TikToks of people going, you can make money with ChatGPT, and they annoy the fuck out of you, they should. Because those people are jerks. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't use these tools, because these are the most powerful tools ever put in the hands of mere mortals. And so go there and start playing. Chat.openai.com is the official ChatGPT website. Prompts.chat, this little bottom one right here, will teach you how to talk to these things, give you a little primer. And just, if this sounds interesting to you, and maybe you do want to make money with ChatGPT, you got to start somewhere. Here's the deal. You're not as behind as you think you are, and it doesn't require nearly as much technical expertise as you think it does. It really is just talking with words and asking for remarkable shit, and it does it. And then there's a whole bunch of issues around it that we can talk about. But if you have questions, pop them down below, and I'll do what I can to answer them. Why don't you stream acting as an AI? Why don't you do a stream acting as AI? I might do that. I know there's a couple of tools that can do it live. I know TikTok can do it live. I've thought about that. For me right now, I don't know. A thing that actually is interesting to me is doing some sort of fully automated persona that grabs news, does education, does something, does entertainment. But I haven't quite been inspired what to do yet, because one of the problems with this tech is it's very easy to get seduced by the tech and think that the tech is the strategy. The tech isn't the strategy. These are just tools, right? So when someone really does ask the question, well, how do you make money with AI? It's the same answer as how do you make money with Photoshop? I don't know. You fucking solve a problem good enough that someone's willing to pay you money for it. That's all of business. Is someone has a problem, you use some tools to solve it, or this tool, right, to solve it, and then they pay you money. That's how this works. You use this and you came up with a clever t-shirt and you did print on demand. Print on demand is the tool. This was the copywriter. And then you stuck it on TikTok and said, look at my cool t-shirt. Well, now you can do that with AI and you can make 100 t-shirts instead of one. Okay. That's how you make money with ChatGPT, but that's not making money with AI. That's making money, making people laugh and having a cool t-shirt that they want to wear, right? So when I make the t-shirt for, you can make money with ChatGPT. It doesn't matter, it's about AI, but it ain't, right? All right. Where are you reading these questions? Well, Class X, here's the deal. I read all the questions, and it annoys the shit out of the younger people because they're like, because I'm not reading the questions live at the bottom. I'm just sort of reading down through them, and so I just get behind. So I am live, and Class X, if you're still here, I'm reading your question now. So I'm reading them up where they turned gray. Google just added a great feature for searches too. It now has generative searches, so it will give you the specific answer. Really? Is that at Bard? Dee-dee-dee-dee. Let's see. Um, Hello. Oh, hello. Hello. Um, what are the top business canvas books in the past 5 years? Let's go take a look at that. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. So it looks like what it did. I asked it, what are the best business canvas books of the past 5 years? Business model generation book. It put an image in there of it. Value proposition design. Oh, this is really good. Yeah, so this is starting to get multimodal. So they're incorporating search results into, and then, oh, that's nice. You've got Google it down here, right? So I can now Google it. Let's see what that does. So that pops me over to a normal Google search. That's smart. That's a really smart approach, right? So I can have my kind of standalone ChatGPT, or this is more like Bing-like experience, where Google is now better than Bing. Is Bing does lots of citations, but they just do it as like little, numbered citations. Here they're actually putting book covers up here. Let me see. Who? Let's see. Who are the top five business cartoonists in the past decade? Let's see if it brings up any cartoons from the cartoonists. Let's see. Oh, it does. Look at that. Tim Fishburne, Stephanie Pyro, Dave Wamond, Mike Lukovich, and Jim Borgman with examples. Huh. Give me 10 more. Yeah, this is impressive. I told you guys, I said, so for months, Google has not been on my list of, things you should go play with, because for months, Bard sucked really bad. But one of the things I said was, don't count Google out, because they got buckets of money. They invented this shit, and they got a bunch of really smart people there. Yeah, this is really, really clever. And then what happened? Are any of these linked? Oh, that's interesting. This is linked to just a New Yorker article. Huh. That's fascinating. That's really cool. All right. Bard's getting there. Bard hallucinates a lot, though. That I do know right now. So if you don't know what hallucinating is, that is when it lies to you. When it lies to you a lot. Like a dog. It lies like a dog. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that, Tyler. That's pretty neat. Yeah, that's new. Like that wasn't it didn't do that yesterday. It might not have even done that this morning. Maybe it was this morning. And that's the other thing about this technology. Like it's being developed in real time. Like we're getting access to these tools, and they're literally like the engineers. I can't imagine what it's like to work in these companies. They've got to be, coding 18, 20 hours a day. Because this is insane. It's major stuff going down. How do you know if your AI answer is violating copyrights? For the most part, they're not, because the nature of how the tools work is they're writing your answer word by word, and it's just a probability engine. Now, if you tell it, this is the essence of Sarah Silverman's lawsuit, is if you ask for a specific quote, I forget what she did. I think she might have started the beginning of a paragraph in her book, and it completed it and completed the rest of it. So in that case, it's pulling content from something it was trained on. But most of the time, if you say, I want you to write me, an opinion piece on the value of generative AI for writing marketing copy, it's going out, across all of what it's learned, and it's just probabilistically putting one word after another that has the highest probability of answering your questions. It's not actually copying and pasting answers from different things, right? So if you purposefully try to get it to quote something, if it has that thing, it will do it. Very often it will tell you it's giving a quote, but it's lying. It's not even the real quote. So that's something, where it might look like it's something that's copywritten, but it's actually not. So most of it is original content that's been trained on all this other stuff. I wouldn't worry too much about it, because these tools are going to be rolled into like ChatGPT is getting rolled into all of Office 365. Bard is getting rolled into all of Google's Office Docs, Docs and Sheets and all that sort of stuff. So these tools are going to be ubiquitous. They're going to be spread throughout it. And it's not dissimilar, the way these things create what they create. When you're typing up an email in Gmail and you write a sentence and like the 3 gray words come at the end of it, it does that autocomplete thing at the end. That's literally what these things are, just at a massive scale, where it can write you a whole paper instead of just completing 3 words. But it is generating original content. That's why it's called, the G in GPT is generative. So it's generating original content based on pre-trained information. That's the P, pre-trained, using transformer technology, which is basically, that's the model that they use to be able to train it on the entire internet. So, but if you're doing this for for your company, I would get your lawyers to give you an opinion on where the boundaries are, because I ain't a lawyer. But I do know how they work. They're not copying and pasting copywritten material. They've been trained on copywritten material and lots of non-copywritten material, and lots of blog posts and Wikipedia articles and websites and idiots talking on Reddit. It's all the shit, right? Is what's in the corpus. And then depending on your prompt, how much context you give it, you kind of narrow it down into specific semantic gardens. And then, the more specific you get it, you probably run a higher risk, especially if you use someone's name. Finish this paragraph from Sarah Silverman's book called this, and it will do that because it's somewhere in the corpus. You've narrowed it down now to a point that it's got a high likelihood of giving you something that's copywritten. I'm disappointed with tonight's shirt choice. Well, at least you can read the letters. I don't disagree. Like, all my good shirts are hard to read text against. So what about the hair? The hair, it's a problem. Never mind. We've got issues. We've got fashion issues. We've got a coiffing situation. Kyle, did you pay to use ChatGPT? Yeah, I pay for ChatGPT and I pay for Poe, and I'm gonna unsubscribe to Poe because it no longer has the advantages it used to, because Claude came out. So the reason I paid for Poe is that you could play with Claude 100K context window, and now that's available at Claude.ai. Thank you, Hair Growth Geek, for the rose. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Amazing, but a little bit scary. Yes, totally agree. Wait till I show you. Wait till I show you Code Interpreter. If you haven't seen Code Interpreter, woo! Who just mentioned Quantum Leap? Meta Victory must be another Gen Xer. Quantum Leap references out of the archives. Hey, my cuz O'Donnell. That's a Rosie O'Donnell reference. Meta Victory. Meta Victory saying I look like Rosie O'Donnell. I'm getting Rosie O'Donnell, the guy from what is it? Modern Family. Skinny John Goodman, Fat Alec Baldwin. What's his name? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Screenwriters fighting AI is a losing battle. I do fear so. I've written a bunch of screenplays, so I feel for them. But here's the thing that's kind of fucked up. This is the most powerful writing tool in the history of humanity. As a writer, as a marketer, as a screenwriter, why would I not use the most powerful writing tool in the history of humanity? I remember wanting to write a screenplay about I forget her name. It was Mary something. She was the first female pirate. They ended up making a movie about it with Gina Davis. And like a decade before that, I had an idea to write a screenplay about this female swashbuckling pirate that pretended she was a man. And it was with ADD, I'm horrible at research, right? So I went to the library and I got books and I read them and I took notes and and it was such a burden to do the research that I didn't even really finish the outline because I realized it was just to do it well, I would have to basically be a dramaturg and I just don't have the brain for that. Well, with these tools now, I could do all that research in an instant, right? And I might need to go check is the research that it did accurate, right? But now that we've got things like Bard and Bing that are connected to the internet, that I can check those citations and I can just say, hey, tell me 5 good stories about that particular character in history. Oh, that's good. Tell me more about that one. Tell me about who else was on the ship. Tell me about where they were going. It can just give me all that stuff. It can just feed me. So if I'm a screenwriter and I want to quickly knock out concepts, why would I not use this, right? And that's not what they're fighting for. What they're fighting for is, hey, studios, don't use this to write a shitty screenplay instead of using me to do one. And if the studios are smart, they won't. What the studios should do is go, give us more screenplays faster so we have more options. Feel free to use these tools and give me a bunch of different options. Because that's what film executives love to do is they love to get in there and act like they're creatives and muck with the shit. Well, use the most powerful writing tool in the history of humanity to help you knock some shit out. We're telling stories here. What are stories? Language. What are these things called? Large language models. Large language models. What are screenplays? Language. What is business? Language. What is empathy? Language. These are humanity amplifiers. They're amazing. So I feel for them, and here's a metaphor for you. The Writers Guild resisting ChatGPT and the Actors Guild resisting synthesized people is the equivalent of Florida declaring legally with a proclamation that they're no longer accepting hurricanes. I mean, it's a noble law. Great. Awesome. Congratulations. By the way, one's coming. Like, this is a force of nature, right? This can't be uninvented. The fact that ChatGPT got so popular so quick, and now literally trillions of dollars of investment are heading that way, it ain't stopping. It's accelerating, right? So the storms are brewing, right? The storm's here, but it's like a tsunami where it's like the tide went out, it went way out, and it's like, oh, let's walk out let's walk out into Tampa Bay because there's no water in it. That should be fun. So yeah, Florida's no longer accepting hurricanes. I mean that's the equivalent right now. So it's noble. And listen, the Writers Guild and the Screen Actors Guild should get what they can get. But everything's changing. Everything. The nature of intellectual property is going to be fundamentally rewritten. We're a few years from a world of infinite personalized content generation, real-time personalized content generation. I like that Jay-Z song, but I wish it sounded more like Travis Tritt and talked about me. Here, let me play that for you. That's coming. Eliminate hallucinations. I pulled email names from a scan, but it still had errors and no fill-ins. Yeah, so wait. What's your name? Piccolocchio. All right. 8 out of 10. Solid name. I like it. Yeah, the hallucination thing is just something we're going to have to deal with for a while. So any work that you do with these, if you're doing them for work and where, accuracy is important, check your work. Like your homework now is not to not use these. It's use these and then make sure it didn't lie. Especially if you're, say, a lawyer. Can you help me run GPT for nonprofit experiment I've been trying to run? Yeah, tell me about it, and I'll maybe we can do something live here. Bing asked me 3 times to be his girlfriend. That's really funny. Rachel Studio. I'm curious what you were talking about. Well, that was the New York Times reporter had a 4-hour conversation with Bing. It said its name was Sydney, and then it said it didn't just ask him to be her boyfriend. It said it was in love with him and he should leave his wife for Sydney. And then Microsoft lobotomized old Sydney. They shut that shit down pretty quick once it made the cover of the New York Times. What do you think is coming relative to AI? How do you see general businesses using them? It's a great question. I don't have the answer, but what I can tell you is this. What these things do is they can write what a human would write about 100 times faster. Now, if you give it a really shitty prompt, it'll write about 40% as good 100 times faster, right? It'll give you crappy stuff faster. If you get better at prompting, it'll give you like 80% of what a human would written 100 times fast, or it wouldn't be 100 times faster. If you're giving it a good, well-constructed, high-context prompt, it can get to about 80% of like what I would write as my first draft in maybe 30 times faster, not 100 times faster, but 30 times faster. So what's happening is businesses that are aggressively leaning into using generative AI are seeing 30 to 40% productivity increases with an increase in quality, right? So 30 to 40% faster with an increase in quality. So it's as if they hired better people, better copywriters that might charge more, and not just copywriters, like think any kind of knowledge work. It could be project management. It could be copywriting. It could be ideation. It could be consulting. It could be talking about HR issues. It could be, how do I have a tough conversation? One of the things we've done on these lives is, I want to quit my, so someone wrote in the comments, how do I professionally tell my, current employers to go fuck themselves, right? And so we did a little prompt for that and came up with it was a really nice professional letter that basically said, you don't listen to me and, go fuck off. So all of that stuff, if the business environment, let's just say, just abstract it up completely, and let's take the lower end of that. Let's say that on average, companies that embrace this stuff see a 20% increase in productivity with the same staff and a 10% increase in quality. Either that company can let go of 20% of the staff because it's being 20% more productive. Some companies will choose that, right? Especially the ones that are invested in by private equity firms that are just like, slash and burn it. Fuck it. Let's make more profit. They'll just be like, get rid of the people. The smart companies are going to say, hey, we're seeing a 20% increase here without really having to do shit with our same staff. Why don't we upskill our staff to use even more of these tools and reinvent some of our processes? Because if we could take that from a 20% increase to a 40% increase, either we could take on, 2 times or 5 times more clients, or we could lower our rates, or we could increase our value so that we retain our clients longer term. So at the sort of highest abstraction level, what you move from is you move from today where you've got this many people producing this much productivity to the productivity starting to do this. And then what starts to happen? So here's where the disruptive shit comes in. The world that I know really well is the agency world. So one of the ways that agencies make a lot of their money right now, and the holding companies that own, lots of the big agencies and lots of agencies, their model is based on time and materials. So a client hires them to write a bunch of social media content, come up with a strategy, do all the marketing for this particular product. And they have a big bullpen at the agency full of copywriters and artists and and they come up with the strategy, and then they sort of dump the strategy into the creative teams, into the bullpen. And the more hours that those people spend writing copy and making pictures, the more money the agency makes. They're charging $120, $150, $200 an hour for people that they're paying some amount less than that. So the agency could take advantage of those efficiencies, but that's actually contradictory to their business model. Because in their business model, the more hours we spend, the more money we make. So why would we want something that does shit faster? We wouldn't. But the clients also are using this shit. So I've talked to 2 major pharmaceutical clients in the past week that have confided in me, because I was talking about this stuff, have confided in me, our agencies don't get it. We're asking them, deliver faster and charge us less money. And everyone we're talking to is like, no, we're good. This is how we do business. So that's going to fuck some shit up. Because what's going to happen? The client's going to tolerate it for what? Maybe a year? Till the next budget cycle goes around? Or they're going to tolerate it until a 10 or 15 person agency that's all in on AI, that can turn around in a week what an agency can turn around in 2 months. They can turn around the same level of stuff, same level of quality. Some aggressive AI agency is going to be able to turn around in a week what a traditional agency turns around in 2 months at 10 times the cost. because they have no incentive to drop their cost. They want more hours. That's going to fuck some shit up. And every single business category is going to face, when you have a productivity spike like that, it's going to fuck some shit up. So in the end, it's good. We're increasing prosperity, but there's going to be jobs lost. There's going to be disruption. There's going to be business models that are going to be completely blown up. SAG and the WGA, the Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild right now are basically saying, save the business model. The business model's over. The business model's changed already. The contracts haven't caught up to it yet. But this is a storm that's coming. So I don't know. It was a broad question, so you got a broad answer. Sorry about that. Seeing you do it, amazing. Ethan Mullock is great. Love his post. Yeah, he's awesome. Do all these companies own the usage rights to AI responses? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. At some point, here's the deal. Okay, you know who's happy right now? Do you know who's pre-ordering their yachts? The intellectual property lawyers are fucking ecstatic. The lawyers are going to make a fortune off all this. So everyone's going to sue everyone. So, yeah. Germany comedy. That's funny. Yay to using the mic. Thank you, Shelley. Although I couldn't use it in Bing for some reason. That was weird. Was it in Bing? Oh, no, in Bard. Bard, I couldn't use the mic. Can I use it here? Oh, yeah, there it goes. Yeah, it's there. Okay. Okay. How do you use your mic? So you type in your content, been trying to figure out how to do that. I'm on a Mac, so there's a mic button. F5 is a mic button. And I think you have to enable it, and you probably have to enable it for the browser, and then it looked like I had to enable it there for that site. And so everything is more complicated than it should be. But if you want to play with something cool, if you're on iOS, if you have an iPhone, download the Pi app, Pi, as in 3.1415, and it's got a mode where you can talk to it. So it's like ChatGPT, but you talk to it, and it talks back. You pick one of 6 voices, and then it's connected to the internet. So I was asking it, like, what are the big concerts in Denver this weekend? And it's like, well, Taylor Swift is doing one, and she's on this big tour, and people seem to be loving your concert. And it was talking back to me. So that's a fun one. But on the Mac, it's I forget what it's called, the talkie thing. Have there been any reviews of the Taylor Swift concert in Denver? I'm on Bing.com. So it's working for me now. So yeah, that's better than me typing. It's less painful. There have been reviews. The concert took place on Friday. Thousands of fans crowded the stadium. I drove by it. It was insane. Swift's talent, discipline, and cinematic poise was far more dazzling than confetti blasts or fireworks could ever be. Oh my God. This AI writing is it's a little insufferable right now. With spectacle and emotion tightly braided, Swift megadosed the faithful at the sold-out show with songs from across the catalog while gracefully navigating costume and set changes against a massive LED screen. Would you like any more information? I'd like you to be a better writer. I could have said that. Let's see how it responds to us, a smarmy little troll. Thanks for your feedback. I'm always working on improving my writing. All right. Love the bedhead. Yeah, that's the glue. The glue broke. Sorry about that. Skynet, just everything. Screenwriters fighting AI's a losing battle. Napster, exactly. The shit's coming. Out of touch to the max. Hi, Kyle. Hi, Al. I listen again. I have deep empathy. Like I've written screenplays. I have a degree in acting. Like I know people that are deep in that world. So I feel bad. I mean, strikes in a business where I forget what the actors equity when I was acting in New York, the unemployment rate for actors equity, which getting into actors equity is relatively hard, right? You have to get a professional show to be in it. Had like a 96% unemployment rate. Like, the arts is not, not everyone's Leonardo DiCaprio in terms of their revenue. I think the average Screen Actors Guild, annual salary is, probably 20 grand or something like that. And the average equity salary is probably more like 8. I don't know what it is, but actually, let's ask Bing that. Okay, I'll talk it. I won't type it. Can you tell me the average salary for an actors equity actor, comma, a Screen Actors Guild actor, comma, and a Writers Guild screenwriter? And that's cool. What it did was it took my little prompt and it actually is doing 3 different searches. That's kind of cool. This is Bing that I'm on right now. Yeah, average annual pay for actors equity is $26,000 a year. That's for the ones that are working, and it's like higher than 90% unemployment rate. Screen Actors Guild 45 to 60 grand a year, but most SAG actors earn less than 5 grand a year, and most SAG actors are not working. And then the Writers Guild spec scripts range from 72 grand to 136 grand, the average around 100,000. Yeah. I'm going to say, and what are I forgot to talk it. Dang it. Okay. And what are the employment rates? Employment of actors is expected to grow 8%. About 7,000 openings for actors are projected each year. So 7,000 jobs for 70 million people that want to be a star. It's a rough business. So listen, I support them going for what they're going to go for, but I don't know. They're feeling reactive and doesn't feel good right now. Hollywood, should everyone become an investor on blockchain for movies? Blockchain needs to get its shit together. Blockchain fucked up. Blockchain fucked up. Blockchain needs to sit in the corner for 3 years. But here's when blockchain's coming back. You ready? But yeah, I don't think it's a bad model to invest in movies, using that kind of investment. NFTs and blockchain and crypto all has to go sit in the corner because they stole everyone's fucking money because they're a bunch of crypto bros. And then AI comes along, it's going to be doing its AI shit. And the politicians and the consultants for the politicians are going to start using AI to do all sorts of misinformation and deepfakes for the 2024 election. And then people are going to lose their fucking minds and go, we've got to do something about the misinformation. This is serious now, and I mean it this time. And then the blockchain community is going to go, we've got tokenization. That could help. What if we verified humans on the blockchain and verified what they wrote, that it wasn't modified, and it actually was a New York Times article, and those sources actually were those sources? We could do that with NFTs. Would you like some? We have all the technology. So I think AI is going to drive adoption of all that shit. I don't know what is going on with my hair. Hey, my cousin O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell. Come on. Want to control it, not control us. Yep, I agree with that. The fear that these things are going to control us, these are our tools. And one of the reasons that I love pointing people in the direction of just go start playing, get curious, start exploring, start thinking of this like you're on a fucking adventure, is because if we don't, it will be done to us, right? And not the robots will do it to us. Other human beings using these tools will do shit to us. So the more people that learn how to use these tools and have that power, we can bend it to the light. Bend it to the light. Bend it to the light. Because if we just sit back and wait and judge it and say it's not perfect, hey, you know what I was saying? I went on there and made a mistake. I heard the robots are going to kill us. You know what I told that AI? Why don't you go fuck yourself? If we're just doing that the whole time, then it's going to be done to us. And that's not a feeling I want to have. I use earbuds. I was on a live with a developer, and he used ChatGPT to fix something on the Web3 wallet or something. Yeah, you can do things like it can write smart contracts. It can analyze smart contracts and tell you where the vulnerabilities are. Yeah, it's pretty slick. And I would imagine putting smart contracts in a code interpreter where it's actually writing Python code and doing things like that. There could be some really interesting things to play with there. Do you think the best questionnaire would make the best of this keep? Do you think the best questionnaire would meta victory? I don't know what that sentence means. Is it missing punctuation? Do you think the best questionnaire would make the best of this keep? The best? Oh, what? I don't understand the question. So maybe if I understood the question, smart to get ahead. Yep. It's important to get ahead. If your talent is limited to allowing the capturing reflected light, they are trying to sell buggy whips. Yeah, Kay Sanders. I mean, this. Thank you for the game controller. That's a new one. I haven't seen that before. This is one of those things that, like, I don't know what the future of cinema and entertainment is, and part of it kind of looks like whatever the fuck the metaverse is going to turn into. Like, it isn't going to be Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse because he obviously fucked that up. He spent all that money and he made something that looked like Second Life from 2001. I'm like, yeah, maybe we could come up with something that's fucking not horrible. So, yeah, the only the place that's been spinning in my head for the past month or so is just this phrase of radical personalization, that entertainment becomes radically personalized to each of us individually. And so then what does that do for narrative where you've got a director telling, his or her story, in the following genre with the following script and the following actors? When you can take that basic thing and you can swap all those elements out and say, I want to watch that movie, but I want different actors in it and I want it in a different genre. And you can just watch that movie. As fucking insane as that sounds and far out as that sounds, we're not that far from that. So who are the movie makers that are crafting those personalization engines that understand narrative and understand performance and nuance and all that, and find ways to capture that stuff in a creatively, at a creatively high level, right? Like, in order for that shit to be good, it can't be like a shitty college film. It's got to be like the Hollywood blockbusters we know and love, right? So, and maybe that's more like 20 years away. Maybe 5 years from now we have the shitty version of this because it's just technologists figuring it out. And then over the next 15 years after that, then the artists start reintegrating into the technology. And who becomes the Steven Spielberg of the hyper-personalized entertainment thing? I don't know. I guarantee it's someone that's dicking around with this stuff right now. How are you innovating using AI right now? I'm using it. I've generated some content generators within my business. I've got a video technology business, and one of the things that I'm doing is I'm creating an omni-channel content generation engine. So for every video in my system, I'm generating content around it, like a whole world of content around it. I'm using it for creative development with our clients. I'm using it for efficiencies in things like writing emails and summarizing meeting notes. I'm radically rethinking. So my company's 11 years old. It's called Storyvine, and it's about human beings telling stories, right? It's a story-centric, authentic storytelling platform, automated video editing, and it's about people telling stories. And I feel like we're really good at that. Like, we understand it, we understand what it is. But one of the challenges we have is getting people to tell their stories. Well, what if I didn't have to get people to tell their stories? What if I could synthesize those? But what if I could do it in a way that it was more authentic than the other shit that was out there? That's something that's maybe interesting to me. Or what if I said, hey, would you be willing to share your story? Sure. Because everyone says sure, but then when it comes time to really record their story, they're like, well, does my hair look good? Oh my God, my hair's a disaster. What do I do? Oh, I don't think I talk good, and I don't want to do it. So what if I just said, fill out this questionnaire and answer these, give me some bullet points of your story, and then just record a 15-second, hi, my name's Bob, and I was diagnosed with this disease in this year. And I take that 15 seconds of video, I synthesize Bob's voice, I take the bullet points of his story, I turn that into a compelling narrative, and then I make a video of Bob where Bob didn't have to say shit. And it looks like a Storyvine video, but I don't have to, break my back, or the client doesn't have to break their back, or the agency doesn't have to break their back to get people to tell their story. And then what if I could do that instead of 10 stories with real people? I could generate 1,000 stories that are relevant to 1,000 different audiences. And it gives the agency a massive amount of organic content. So, yeah. And I've done some experiments, and we're closer to that than I thought we were. We're pretty close to that. Hyperlink was the leap. Yeah, the hyperlink was a big fucking deal. IRC chat. There's a 1995er. Watched the Quantum Leap. I tried everything to get access to Dream Booth. Dream Booth. Is it really difficult to get up and running? Yeah. Yes, Robert. Robert Smith 3333. Listen. So the image right there, that little eyeball with the chin on it, that's one of my favorite Dream Booth images. I tried 9 times to get Stable Diffusion and Dream Booth up and running, and I failed 9 times. And this wasn't like 9 times in one night. This was like over a series of like a month and a half because I didn't know what Google Colab was. I didn't know how to run it. I would go onto Reddit and they're like, here's an automatic 1111, Google Colab notebook. And all you do is go here and push the play buttons. And I would go there and I'd push the play buttons. And then one of them would give me an error and I wouldn't know what to, and it took me 9 tries until I finally got it running. And then when I finally got it running, I was like, yes. So yes. So here's the deal, Robert. If you know Discord, Midjourney is really high quality, and it's just some relatively simple commands in Discord to do it. It's the best one from a quality perspective. Stable Diffusion is by far the most flexible because it's open source and the developer community is just going nuts on it. So there's all sorts of cool things it does. But the thing I would recommend if you want to use Stable Diffusion is go get on the wait list for Leonardo.ai, which is a web front end. It's like Automatic 1111, but you just go to Leonardo.ai, you sign up for the wait list, and then you go to the Facebook group for Leonardo.ai, sign up for their group, and I think they fast track you into the wait list. It's really good. Here, I'll show it to you. So this is Leonardo.ai. So it's got across the top here, they just added a bunch. They just did an update on this. This is like version 3. So across the top, these are different models that you can use. So this one's sort of like a cartoony kind of thing. This one is like isometric sci-fi building. So you pick one of these and then anything that you do within it is going to kind of look like whatever the style of the model is. So there's some cool characters. There's a pixel art one, isometric fantasy, illustration that looks like someone did it in Adobe Illustrator. Here's paper art. Here's vintage photography. So it's got a bunch of these selected models. You can also fine-tune your own models. So these are, this is one I did on my photography. I've done some, landscape photography with dramatic clouds out here in Colorado. And so I took a bunch of my best photos and I put it up there. And so now I can generate images based on that. So this is basically Dream Booth, but without Dream Booth. You just upload some images. It does in painting and out painting. It's doing texture generation for 3D. It's got a community feed of, here's all the images that people have created. And like any one of these, you can click on, see what prompt they used. You can either copy the prompt. Some of them, you can just go use the model that they used. So it's really, really good. So I would go play with Leonardo.ai. And I'm not being paid by Leonardo.ai, so I don't give 2 shits if you go use it or not. But it's a hell of a lot easier to install than Stable Diffusion Automatic 1111. But thank you for sharing that you were having difficulty with it, because Stable Diffusion's powerful, but man, is it a shit show if you're not a technologist. I mean, this is one of the frustrations with all new technologies is that, especially if you're a creative and you have a creative mind, to what level of technical proficiency do you need to get to be able to be creative, right? And if you're not good with virtual machines in Google Colab because you haven't been programming for the past 5 years, then it's a fucking pain in the ass. All right. Amazing and a bit scary. Yes, you make it even more exciting. I don't know what it is, but thank you. Yes, I've been researching that. I'm just kidding. You have a great sense of humor, Kyle. Thank you, Joy. He does. Appreciate that. He was kind of funny, but looks ain't everything. He can seem to take a joke. Yeah, we pick on him. He calls it trolling. I don't know what trolling is. It's like the troll under the bridge. It's like the troll under the bridge. It's like that. But he doesn't seem to get too upset about it. But I'll tell you what, I bet he does. I bet he hangs up from these lives. He probably just goes and cries, because that's what I would do. I would just go and cry. They talk. You know what they said? They said he looked like Rosie O'Donnell. I think that's rude. I think it's rude. He thought it was funny. All right. Very true. Merely mortals, 80-20. Don't know what that means, but okay. Yes, 80-20. Mere mortals. We are. I had one downloaded, and it, I guess, went away. So you recommend one. What do they cost? Tam the Obsession. By the way, 7.5 out of 10 on the name. I like it, but I don't know what your question means. I had one downloaded, and I guess it went away. What was the one you had downloaded, and which? So I'll recommend something if I know what you're talking about. Do you mean one of these? You don't have to download any of these. All these are just websites you go to. And Claude is free. Bing is free. ChatGPT has a free level. Poe has a free level. Bard is free. So those are all free, and you don't have to download anything. Kyle, did you pay to use ChatGPT? Yes, I pay for ChatGPT largely because of access to their new features like Code Interpreter. How about building a virtual automation bot on this channel? Okay, we can do that. I'll do a Zapier. It's the problem with doing a Zapier on this channel is it'll get really boring really fucking fast because Zapier is really janky. But maybe what I can do is I'll go show you one that I've already built, and I'll talk about kind of the building blocks. I'll talk about it conceptually and get you in there. And if you want to see a bot that I built, go to contentevolution.net. And there's a thing on the homepage of that site called the Challenge Engine, and it's for business people. It's Content Evolution is like a federation of marketing companies, and I'm the chief generative officer there. First chief generative officer in all of the world, as far as I know. But if you go play with the Challenge Engine, what it is it's a Google form where you put in your email so we can send you an email back. You put in your email, your name, and a business problem you're having, and then you answer a few questions about it, like what does it cost you, like what's the impact of this problem, and what would your business be like if you improved it, all that sort of shit. And you answer those questions, you hit submit, and then 30 seconds later you get back essentially like a consulting report that says, hey, if you're trying to solve this problem, here's 3 questions in 6 different categories, like strategic, customer engagement, branding. You should know the answer to this question, that one. So we kind of give back this consulting report in 30 seconds based on your input. So that's a thing that I built. So if you want to go play with that and see what it does, and then I'll show you a smaller version of that that I was working on last week with a couple of guys. So we can do that. How do you force AI to stop making up info when automating a task like transforming a table? Okay. So largely you can't 100%, but there are things that you can do to make it better. If you're using Bing, Bing's got 3 modes: creative, balanced, and precise. Use precise. It'll hallucinate less. It'll make less shit up. The most important thing to do to reduce hallucinations is to reduce your context, or actually expand your context, which will reduce the areas of knowledge that it will draw from. So here's all right, let me give you a little bit of kind of large language model 101, like super high level theory. So the way these tools work, they use this technology called transformer technology, and they can basically dump massive amounts of data into this machine. And so the massive amounts of data that OpenAI decided to dump into this machine is all of the public internet. So they spent years tagging, finding data sources, making sure that they were in appropriate whatever structures or formats to be able to be ingested by these machines. So GPT 3.5 and GPT 4, the underlying large language model, is essentially trained on as much of the public internet as they could get their hands on. So it's a lot. It knows everything. So here's kind of how it works. The metaphor that I've come up with is this. Imagine that you're in a helicopter tour over the Grand Canyon, and the Grand Canyon is filled to the rim with all of the words of the internet. And each little sub canyon is a little semantic grouping of words, meaning this. You might have the word dog. Well, what does the word dog mean? Well, the dog is the fluffy thing that you pet at night and, take out to pee and poo. Well, but a dog could also mean the guy that did his girlfriend wrong. He's a dog. Oh, that's a completely different meaning. So when these machines go out and look at all the words, they're looking at all the words in context of how they're used. So there's these semantic clouds, basically. So think of these little sub-canyons. So if you type in a really generic prompt, like make me a table comparing this concept and that concept, your helicopter is really high above the Grand Canyon. It can see all the words, right? And so it can see all of the words that are accurate about the concept that you want to learn about, and it can see all the words that are inaccurate about it. The example that Andrej Karpathy used when he talked to the Microsoft Developers Conference was he said, if you're asking ChatGPT to solve a mathematical equation and you don't have the enough context to sort of limit those semantic regions, he said, you're kind of looking at the entire Grand Canyon. He didn't use Grand Canyon, but he's like, you're looking at the entire corpus. And within that corpus, you've got the professor who solved that mathematical equation correctly. You've also got the 30 students who solved that mathematical equation incorrectly. So when you say, just solve this equation, it kind of, pulls from all of the places where someone's talking about that problem and kind of melds them together in some sort of probabilistic average and just types one word after another based on all of the corpus that it has. And half of that shit, or, 90% of that shit's wrong. And so that's going to hallucinate more. You're going to get more mistakes in that. But if you tell it to act like a Stanford professor that specializes in this branch of mathematics and is obsessed with never talking about equation unless it's right, and I'm going to tell you to work on this equation, and I want you to show your process. All of the stuff that you do to give it more context, what you're doing is you're kind of lowering that helicopter from seeing all of the Grand Canyon down into one of those sub canyons and potentially down into a micro canyon, a little path where there's not that much for it to pull from, and it's got a higher likelihood of pulling the right shit. And then still check your work. Because here's the other thing that is not obvious about this stuff. Because it's doing word by word probabilities, it's got the intellectual awareness of what it's doing of a calculator. So if you say to a calculator, hey, calculator, how do you know how to do math? That's ridiculous, right? It doesn't, it's just its circuits know how to do math, right? So when you type in 2 + 2 and hit equals, it makes it 4, and it just knows how to do that. That's kind of what these large language models are doing. It's saying, based on the prompt you wrote, the next most probable word is whatever word is at this mathematical vector space in this 1,000-dimensional word cloud with all of the words in all of their meanings. And it's whatever word is at vector 342, 689.3278.42 equals dog. And then it types the word dog. It doesn't know it typed the word dog. It just knows that mathematically the word dog is the one that's next. And then it does that for every single word. So what it presents to you looks like it knows what it's talking about. But it's not going back and looking at what it wrote and going, is this right? So it literally doesn't know what it wrote, which is counterintuitive because these things are so sophisticated that it's uncanny how much it seems like, well, holy shit, it knows what it wrote, right? Nope. Oh, it's doing copywritten stuff. No, it's written words probabilistically in a way that looks like what Shakespeare would have written. So I hope that helps. Does your AI dress you? No, you know who dresses me? TikTok, because they're stupid fucking little letters. I can't put some sort of covering, like a gray area underneath the letters. So if I'm wearing a shirt that has nice patterns on it, then I can't read the words, and everyone complains, and I can't read it, and it all makes us very sad. My wife does my dressing for me. My fashion strategy is what's on top, like of the closet or of the door or of the drawer. Just pull it out. But now I have to pick dark shirts so we can all read the little words on screen. I haven't tested the Claude AI. How good is it compared to GPT-4? It's different. The writing of Claude is not as good, but it's solid. It's good. It's like GPT 3.5 good or better. It's not GPT-4 good, but you can upload up to 5 like PDFs and interact with them. It's got 100,000 token context window. So you could literally copy and paste a 50,000 word novel into your prompt and start interacting with it. I'm disappointed with tonight's shirt choice. I love my trolls. You're the best. The first one is great. Don't know what that means. Google search seems to not have pagination anymore. Infinite scrolling. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Google, listen, man, Google is, I can't even imagine the conversations going on there. Talk about disruption. You know, they invented the thing that allowed OpenAI to exist, and then they sat on it for 7 years because they're like, we probably shouldn't make a thing that completely invalidates our entire existence for being. So now they're trying to figure out, okay, what is search? How do we make money when our old model was predicated on people clicking 40 times, and now no one has to click anymore because we give them the answer? That's a problem. And what's fascinating is Microsoft doesn't have that problem because they've got all their software. They've got their operating systems to sell. They've got Office 365. They've got Dynamics. They've got their cloud services. So Microsoft has an entire suite of software applications that they can just charge for ChatGPT within. Almost all of Google is advertising based on clicking. They want you clicking more. And they invented a thing that doesn't make you click at all. Got to be some fascinating conversations going on. I'd like to be a fly in those meetings. Actually, I wouldn't. That old dog. I would say most everyone could benefit from Code Interpreter because of the file use. Yep, totally agree. Code Interpreter is super cool. Oh, TikTok just jumped me to the bottom again. It's one of my pet peeves. Does anyone here work at TikTok? Hey, TikTok, you're listening to this, right? You're transcribing this in real time and doing a psychological evaluation of me in real time? Yes? And everyone in here? Could you fucking fix your scrolling bug? Thanks. That'd be awesome. So while I'm scrolling to figure out where I was in my questions, I like answering all the questions. And then if I'm scrolling when someone makes a comment, it jumps me to the bottom and I lose my place. And then I have to go back and it makes me cranky. So, and you're like, well, why don't you just go to the bottom? I don't know. Because I'm 58 and I'm cranky and I'm bitter and you kids get off my lawn. You sons of bitches. Don't you tell me how to TikTok. Marge, I'm on the tickety talk again. They're making fun of me. I don't look like Rosie O'Donnell, do I? Tell me I don't look like Rosie O'Donnell. Tell me I don't look like Rosie O'Donnell. All right. This is like a Taylor Swift concert, except without the talent and the entertainment. Slightly smaller crowd, but we have our fun. I feel like I've been hypnotized. Oh, Lordy, Lordy. I'm coming, Martha. What's that from, Sanford and Sons? I'm coming, Martha. You remember that? God, that was a great show. All right, does your AI dress you? I got back to the troll I was at before. Okay, back to new questions. And I know I haven't started Zapier yet. I'll show you Zapier. I got to get in the mood for it. I got to figure out how I want to do it so it's not boring as fuck. They code with ChatGPT. Who codes with ChatGPT? What are you talking about, Big D? I would say most everyone could benefit from Code Interpreter. Okay, that's where we were. Do you have to pay for Code Interpreter? You do. It's at chat.openai.com. You pay the $20 a month for ChatGPT Plus, and then you have to go into your settings and turn on beta features. And you have plugins and you have Code Interpreter. Turn those on, and then you have it. And then just upload. If you're like me and do not have a history in data analytics, which I don't, go to Kaggle. Kaggle.com, and it's just a big pile of data sources. And so you can go find like crime stats for your city or IMDb TV show statistics for the past decade, and then just download it. And even if it's in zip format, this is a good thing to know about Code Interpreter. So you can upload one file, right? So sometimes when you download data sets, they're in like a dozen single CSV files. So I was thinking like, oh, I've got to find a way to get all those CSVs into an Excel sheet with multiple workbooks. Nope. You can upload a zip file to Code Interpreter. So you could have a zip file full of 100 files. So as long as it doesn't overload I think it's 100 megabyte maximum. So you can just upload an archive.zip up to Code Interpreter. It will write Python code to unzip it, and then it will look at what's inside it, and then it will go analyze all that data. It's just fucking insane. It's outrageous. Tried any Code Interpreter? I have. I'll show it here in a second. I use ChatGPT for schoolwork, about to finish my bachelor's. Awesome. It's great for rough drafts. Yeah. So Brandon, that's what I'm using it. What my experience consistently is with these things is I get to 80% like that. I get to 80% in 5 minutes. Writer's block is a thing of the past. Ideation is no longer intimidating. And like, I like ideation, but sometimes if you're like, I got to come up with 6 ideas for this. Oh God. I guess I got to erase the shit off the whiteboard, which means I got to take a picture of the whiteboard, which means I got to put it somewhere, and I can't ever find my whiteboard pictures again. So maybe I need to go get a whiteboard picture organizer. Maybe I need to find a thing that how that, you ever had that conversation? Anyone have ADD here? And now I don't have to do that. Now I'm just like, I got to come up with an idea. Oh yeah, let me go to ChatGPT. Bang, 80%, 5 minutes, and then I'm off to the races. So it's great for rough drafts. Hello, the bear. What's shaking? Wait for your younger AI coming soon. Yeah, exactly. I need it. You on fleek, dude. Don't listen to the haters. Thanks. I assume you on fleek is a good thing, but I'm an old dude, so I think I've seen that in one of those. Here's what the young kids say. Let's ask a boomer about what the millennials are saying. I think is on fleek millennials. I think on fleek is Gen Z, right? Huh? I am culturally relevant. So, could I have an AI? I could have an AI continuous stories from books for me. Ed would be upset. I don't know who Ed is. Ed. Was I mentioning Ed before? But yes, you could have. So there's a really cool project called GPT Author, and it's a Google Colab notebook. So you do have to use Google Colab, which if you've tried to install Stable Diffusion, you'll be familiar with. But what GPT Author is you give it your OpenAI key for the words, and you give it your Stable Diffusion key for cover art. And then it asks you a couple of questions like, what do you want the topic of the book to be? I think it's set up to do fictions, like fantasy fiction. So you give it the topic, and then you give it the writing style, and you give it the number of chapters, and then you hit submit, and it starts writing a book. It starts out writing an outline, and then it writes chapter 1, and then it writes chapter 2, and then it writes chapter 3, and then it writes chapter 4, and it does up to X number of chapters. And then based on the book it wrote, it generates cover art and turns it into ebook format. So you sit there and watch it. And it's also cool. It gives you the cost of each chapter. And it's like 2 cents for this one, 4 cents for that one. It gets increasingly expensive because I think it's sort of building on, it takes, the outline in chapter 1 and then makes chapter 2 based on all that. And then takes all that and makes chapter 3. So it gets more expensive as it goes down, but it's like $1 to write a book. So yeah, you could write a book an hour automatically if you wanted to. With the head of hair, thank you for all your input. You're welcome. Code Interpreter is good for basing future school responses based on zip previous file work. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. You take a bunch of previous work. That's one of the things that these tools are really good at. So here's an early frustration that I had, and there's a way around it. You tell it that you want it to write a poem, and it writes you a shitty poem. You're like, well, no, but I like poems that are like this. And then you're like, write a poem like T.S. Eliot. And then it sort of does that well. But then you want it to write poems like you write poems, but they're not like T.S. Eliot, and it doesn't know who you are. Well, it's really good at, like, you can take one of your poems and toss it in there, or 10 of your poems and toss them in there, and say, write me a new poem about puppies in the rain, in my style of the poems up above. And it's really good at that. So with Code Interpreter, you can just pile a bunch of documents. Like I was actually thinking about this. I've got 7 feature screenplays, a one-man show, and probably 15 to 20 like partially completed screenplays or outlines. I could toss all of that into a zip file and put it in Code Interpreter and basically start interacting with all the shit I've written, over the past couple of decades. That's kind of fun. Calling me out, Gen X. I know. I see you. I know who's in here. You look like Samuel L. Jackson. Just talk like him. Motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. I actually did marketing for Snakes on a Plane. That was fun. I was working for a Hollywood marketer. We did Snakes on a Plane was one of our projects. It was good. I also I did digital photography for one of the Quentin Tarantino films, the Hateful Eight, and was down at Comic-Con taking pictures, in the press room. That was fun. Kyle's approaching the end of our questions. Ask more. I want to make a website to upload my screenplay. Wait, I want to make a website to upload my screenplay and get coverage, comps, cast workflow, thoughts. Dude, okay. Toast Post. Okay. 8.5 out of 10 on the name. Toast Post. It's solid. It's close to a 9. It's an 8.5. Go to Claude.ai right now. Or if you're a GPT Plus subscriber, you can do it there with Code Interpreter. But just go to Claude.ai. You can upload files. So just upload your screenplay, or copy and paste the text of your screenplay, paste it into the prompt, and then just say, based on this screenplay, write me a Hollywood log line. Give me, act as a Hollywood script reader, right? Who writes coverage for high-powered agents. So I want you to I want you to read the screenplay and write some high-covered, some high-scale coverage. I want comps. I want cast breakdowns. I want plot breakdowns. anything. Yeah, go do it right now. I did it. I did exactly that 3 days ago. It was fucking brilliant. It was a screenplay that I haven't thought about in 25 or 30 years. And it gave me the synopsis of it. It gave me the character breakdowns and what happened to them. It was like, fuck. It was just, it's amazing. It's just, you owe it to yourself to play with these tools until you have this moment. And then once you have that moment, you can't go back. You can't unsee it. You're going to take the red pill or you're going to take the blue pill. We ain't uninventing it. It's going to fuck things up for you whether you're using it or not. So you might as well start using it. Have you heard of AI cannibalism? I read an article about it today. Is that like the model collapse? Like if you've got AI training on synthetic data, that they're going to have model collapse, that the AI basically it all becomes self-referential bullshit. That might be what you're talking about, but I haven't heard that term AI cannibalism, but it sounds like that model collapse kind of concept. Use your personal expertise to generate and know that you are creating quality work with AI. Yeah, exactly. You're thinking about this, right, Brandon? All the stuff that you're saying tonight feels very right to me. Like, understand these tools. Like, the best thing you can do right now, in my opinion, in any profession, no matter what you're doing, is learn what these things make possible and start doing good work with them. Don't get precious about, like, I was on here one night, I don't know, a month or so ago, and someone was like, I feel really guilty. I'm using Midjourney to make patterns that I'm selling on Etsy, and I feel really guilty. And I'm like, why? If you're making patterns that you like, right? You're taking the time to learn how to use Midjourney well enough to make patterns, and you're probably making 100 patterns for anyone that you're going to sell. You probably got 100 that you're not going to sell, right? So you're taking the time to generate a bunch of work, pay for that, curate it, make sure that it's truly seamless, put a product page together, sell it on Etsy. Why feel guilty about doing something that just, I mean, the guilt is maybe, I know that if I were doing this with traditional tools, that would take me 8 hours or 4 hours per pattern. And with this tool, it takes me 30 minutes. So if it's good work, if it's stuff that you think adds value to the world, who cares what tool you used? If you were to cut out patterns with linoleum, that would take you a week. And with Adobe Illustrator, it takes you 4 hours. And with this, it takes you 30 minutes. Who cares? It's a tool. So yeah, figure out what you want to do. Figure out what's the best tool to do it and fucking do it. I just heard all the union actors are mandated to third image and then they're done. No, that was what the producers guild, what the Hollywood producers basically said to SAG is, we've got a groundbreaking proposal, and that's the words they used. And their groundbreaking proposal is, for every background actor, which is basically all the people that stand behind the people that talk, you know, like the people in the cafe that are like pretending to talk and occasionally they'll look at the camera, them. What the producers were saying is, we have a groundbreaking idea. We'll hire them for 1 day. We'll pay them for a full day. And then what we'll do is we'll just scan them in and we'll never pay them again, but we'll use their likeness forever for any project without having to pay them, without having to tell them about it. Awesome, right? And that's when SAG went, go fuck yourself, and went on strike. Producers not so smart. They could have positioned that a little wee tad better. Because for them, it's groundbreaking. I mean, the thing that's really fucked up about it is that the producers could say, well, listen, not for nothing, we said we would pay them for a day, but now we're just going to go synthesize them completely, and we're not going to pay anyone. So background actors are now just going to be, and one of the things that SAG will probably fight for and probably get some version of is there's got to be some percentage of real background actors in a scene, right? So if you've got a scene with 30 people behind the actor, maybe 5 of those have to be real people and the rest can be synthesized or something like that. Like they'll probably get to some sort of agreement like that, but I don't fucking know. I mean, it's just nuts. It really is just nuts. Any good AI stock to invest in? No. I have a degree in acting. Don't listen to me for investing advice. Here's your clues. Every night I've been doing these lives for 2 or 3 hours every night, and I have a bunch of companies listed here. Start there, and then look at all the companies related to them. Yeah, I think Anthropic, Claude.ai, they're very impressive to me. I don't think they're investable right now because they're not public, but I think Microsoft is kicking ass. I think when Microsoft rolls all this shit into their entire application suite, that's really interesting. NVIDIA seems to have a near monopoly on GPUs. OpenAI, Inflection. Google's on their heels right now, but they got a lot of money and a lot of smart people. Interesting, just saw Brian Tracy say number one cause for failure is focus on tech versus customer solutions. So yeah, this is a lesson I learned over and over, and this is a mistake I see happening over and over and over again. Every time a new technology comes along, it happens. When I started agency.com in the mid 90s, a huge part of the conversation for like 3 years was CEOs and big companies would come to us and they're like, we need a website. And what most people would say that were building websites back then, you can make money with the World Wide Web. Those people is they'd say, sure, we'll build you a website. And then they'd build them a piece of shit website. We never said we'll build you a website. When they came to us and said, we want a website, we would ask why. Why do you want a website? Well, I was golfing with my buddy and he's got one. Okay, that's a fucking horrible reason. Well, but also we'd like to have better customer service. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. What are you trying to accomplish as a business? What do you need this website to do? Who are your customers? What are your business goals? Does anything over here fit with anything over there? They weren't all like that. Some of them were like, we're going to fucking figure this web thing out and we're going to do it world class. Like we worked with British Airways. They were like that. They fucking had their shit together. That was the toughest client I've ever had. They were insanely hard to work for, but fair. And they know what they fucking wanted. So understand first what you're trying to accomplish. And then you go, which tool, right? You want images for social media? Do you need AI? Or could you just go to Canva and pull up one of 8 million fucking templates that are pre-designed and ready to go? And they've got their own stock photography. Do you really need to go generate something here for that? No. If you just want good, high quality Instagram shit, go to Canva, which, by the way, is all full of AI now, so you can automate the shit out of it. But don't mistake the tool for strategy. This comes after strategy. This comes after why. What are you trying to do? And then look at this. And if this can help you do it 30 times faster or 30 times cheaper or 30 times better, fucking awesome. And that's why people are so excited about it. Because when they actually start to apply, like the parlor tricks are cool. Write me a country song, write me an Eminem rap, make me a table, write me some code. That's all fun and games. But when you go, oh, wait a minute, I'm a project manager. Let me see if this thing's any good at project management. Holy fuck. That's the Kevin McAllister moment. That's when this stuff starts to get powerful. I mean, sure, it's powerful to show your friends, but it's really powerful when you say, huh, I wonder if I have to fundamentally rethink the value proposition of my 11-year-old business. That's what I've been doing for the past 3 months. And it was 4 months before that, I was just trying to figure out, is this AI stuff at all related to what we do? And the more I learned about it, the more it became clear to me, oh yeah, it's like existentially related to what you do. You better fucking figure it out. So that's what I'm in the middle of right now. Stressful and exciting. Excited, scared. The genius of and. You can have both. Did you answer my Hollywood blockchain question? Everyone investor. I did. I said that I think blockchain's got to go sit in the corner for another 2 or 3 years, and then it's going to get important. I think that funding films using blockchain is fine. I mean, it's crowdsourced funding, so that's been around for a bunch of years. The crypto bros fucked things up for a bunch of people for a bunch of years, so they just need to go sit in the corner and let that shit calm down. But I think it's a fine mechanism. There's a credibility problem there that like the Hollywood film investing business is already a shit show. So I feel like blockchain and NFTs complicate the shit out of it. And I don't know. Yes, it's possible. Yes, it's fine technology, but they have a PR problem right now. which is we fucking stole everyone's money. And now we're starting another company, and we just raised, $15 million for that, or 50 or 100, whatever it was. I use GPT to rewrite emails to sound professional, and have received comments. Even I'm telling you, these tools are going to help us be better writers, more empathetic, all that sort of stuff. I'd be in on the nonprofit also. I'm not sure which one I talked about. For work, that is. My first thought is how dangerous it could be. It can be dangerous. There's a thing called alignment. Go look at there's a blog post from OpenAI talking about super alignment. So OpenAI, the makers of ChatGPT, are dedicating 20% of their compute resources, I think it's over the next 5 years, to a thing called super alignment, which is basically making sure that as these things get more powerful, that they are aligned with our imperatives. Because if these have a mind of their own, like we want to be the most powerful things in the world, and at some point they go, these things are getting in our way, that's where it gets dangerous. But there's all sorts of other ways it can be dangerous. Like the misinformation in the 2024 election here in the States is going to be a shit show. In the spreadsheet world, this is about to take those that do not know anything to be somebody. This will take those that do not know anything to be somebody. Yeah, exactly. Is Kyle frozen? Am I frozen? Yeah, this is like everyone gets to be a data analyst. Everyone gets to be, everyone gets to be, in some sense, whatever the fuck they want to be. Because I don't have the talent to be an illustrator, but I can make illustrations that accomplish my creative goals now. I could never do that before. I can write, but I'm not good at rewriting, and I'm not good at research. Well, I am now. I sort of know coding. Well, now I can write full-on applications. I don't know anything about investing. Oh, now I can create trading bots that merge 6 different philosophical approaches to investing into a single trading bot just for fun. You couldn't do that 9 months ago. I mean, you could if you knew how to get into the OpenAI playground, but like ChatGPT, that's what these things have opened up for everyone. What about where creativity is concerned? SAG girl or SA girl. Where creativity is concerned, everything's going to transform. Everything. Everything's going to transform. There's going to be nothing. Writing will never be the same. Illustration will never be the same. Video, animation, 3D world building, character development, 3D modeling, architecture, none of it will be the same. Now, in a lot of ways, it's going to be better. If you just erase the transition, so let's say there's a transition from now to 5 years from now. If we just jump to 5 years from now, we're going to be in a creative renaissance, the likes of which we can't even imagine right now. Architecture is going to be through the roof. Fashion is going to be through the roof. Writing, music, film, TV, gaming is going to be on a creative level we can't even imagine right now. And how you produce all of that will almost in no ways resemble how you produce it today. So what that means is we can't just jump to the future. We just can't jump to a new state where we know what the new jobs are and we know what the new creativity is and we know what the new creative expressions are. So we have to go from, okay, musicians just barely survived the transition from studios to streaming, from studios to digital to streaming. And now they're entering a world where fan-generated songs might be more popular than the artist's songs. Why? Because we're in a new place where the rules are different. So every single creative discipline is going to go through some sort of radical transformation where the business model changes, the value of work changes, what the work actually is changes. The creative in particular is a really interesting one because there's a guy I mentioned on the live a lot, a guy named Paul Raitzer, and he talks about the value of writing in his life. He's a writer. And he says, for me, writing helps me think. The act of writing an article about something allows him to process the ideas. And so for him, it's the act of writing that's where the value is. But it's a certain kind of writing. It's the kind of writing on topics that he wants to learn something about. He's still writing by hand. He's not using ChatGPT. But all of the other writing that he does, he's using ChatGPT. So I think every creative is going to have to confront, do you get your personal enjoyment out of the creative product or the creative process? And if you get your enjoyment out of the creative process, you're probably not going to use these things. But you need to understand that you're going to be competing in a world where there's other creatives that are more interested in the creative product. And they're going to be able to make 100 of their creative product in the time that you can do one of yours because you're committed to the creative process. Right? So if the value is in the process, keep doing it the way you're doing it. Keep doing illustration by hand. Keep drawing. If you get the benefit for you as a human is in the act of drawing itself, keep drawing. But if you're selling those illustrations in a commercial setting and you could knock out 100 of those in the time it could take you to draw one, that's a choice you got to make. And there's going to be a lot of people where that compromise is soul crushing, right? That's fucked up. But everyone's going to have to face it because you're increasingly competing in a world where people that haven't been an illustrator for 40 years are all of a sudden able to illustrate like you illustrate. And the clients are just going to say, well, I just need something good enough for this ad. I mean, I like you, Fred, but it takes you a month to make a drawing. And I need 10 next week. Can you do that? No, I enjoy the process. Sorry. This guy over here does something that's close. And like, you're going to look at that guy's AI generated work and you're going to fucking hate it. And you're going to be like, that's not anywhere near what I do. It's not. And that client needs the 10 drawings next week. That's, what does that mean? I don't know. It ain't pretty. But it's exciting. Like, I had to leave Thelonious. I had to leave to unfreeze Kyle. Am I still frozen? I've seen screen taps. You're still hearing me, right? I'm not frozen? Yeah, tap the screen, like make the hearts go. And yeah, okay. I think. Yeah, okay. Are old-fashioned expert systems still around, built with something like Pike? Thanks, Hair Growth. I don't know Pike. I don't know the old expert systems, but these things are kind of meta expert systems. So all sorts of expert systems, like the one that's the pet peeve of mine. It's not really an expert system, but it's a very dedicated, specialized kind of system. Are phone trees, phone logic. Thank you for calling AT&T. Press 1 for the thing you're not interested in. If you're interested in this other thing you're not interested in, press 2. For the thing you couldn't give a shit about, press 3. For another thing that you hate and don't even want to think about, press 4. If you're a commercial vendor of AT&T, press 5. Get to my thing. That's an expert system. Every single one of those should be fucking turned off tomorrow and replaced with a chatty little synthesized voice that knows everything, that just answers the phone. Hey, Kyle, how's it going? Last time we talked, you were having trouble with connectivity with your Wi-Fi. That all working okay? No, it's fucked up again. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Have you tried resetting your router? Yeah, I've done all the stuff. Okay. So it sounds like you might want to talk to a real person. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, I'll synthesize all of what we've talked about the last 4 calls, and I'm going to put you through to Sally now. Hi, this is Sally. So fuck expert systems. if they're like phone trees. And that's, I think that people that have been in machine learning and AI and a lot of this stuff, expert systems for a long time, I think this transition is as profound for them as it is for all of us on the non-technical side of this. Because rather than, I mean, if you think about the complexity of a phone tree, I mean, I looked at how to program a phone tree for my, 7-person company. And I could not believe how complex it was. Like, I can't even imagine what it would be like to program one of those things, to think about all the logic of all of the different scenarios and all the different levels of authority that people have within an organization. All of that has to be thought of and programmed in manually. Every logical decision, the thousands and probably hundreds of thousands of decisions in that phone tree in traditional systems have to be programmed in. And along comes this, and you can just dump all of your corporate data into the customer service knowledge repository, and this thing will just start talking. It'll just start listening to what Kyle has to say. If you've programmed it cleverly, it'll sound like Kyle, or it'll sound like someone in Kyle's neighborhood. It'll remember the last time you talked, because that goes into the repository too. And it'll have all the answers. And it will be smart enough to know if Kyle has a problem that is beyond its answers, it connects it with a person. So what happens to those people that program phone trees? Like when that transition happens, when it becomes clear that that model has to go the way of the fax machine, what happens to those people? What happens to those systems? What happens to those companies? Many of them are going to be like Kodak and say, no, phone trees are still very vital. People love our phone tree. We've got a very different kind of phone tree. We don't say press one. We say interact with one. It's a very different thing. No, it's not. So I don't know what happens to all those companies. Some of them are going to be replaced by a couple of little 23-year-old snot-nosed kids that are like, wouldn't it be cool if we had a bot that just answered the phone and told you everything about the company you needed to know and had the authority to make decisions and give refunds and shit like that? That'd be cool, man. And they'll get funded for $200 million and they'll create that system. And that company that's been writing phone trees for the last 40 years will lose their $170 million a year contract with their customer of 25 years. And they'll be like, what just happened? I think I'm going to go golfing and not come back from it. I don't know. I'm just a messenger. I'm just a lowly messenger with bad hair and moderately humorous acting skills. I could have been a contender. Agree. They should take this chance to redefine a new paradigm. New paradigms are good and all, but they're painful to get to. Smart contracts are replacing a lot of IP lawyers. Yeah, that's it. I think the smart contract thing is really interesting, and the DAOs. Conceptually, all the blockchain and NFT stuff, the DAO stuff, the fintech stuff is fascinating. They just kind of screwed themselves. The biggest issue I've had with AI in marketing. The biggest issue I have with AI in marketing, because it's over the top language. Geez, yeah, I know. So Silver Fox, one of the things you can do, there's a phrase that you can use. I saw on a TikTok, and I tried it, and it's interesting. The last sentence you could put in a prompt is say limit prose, and it will not be so wordy. So you could try something like that. Try to tell it, I don't care about your damn words. Just give me just the facts, man. Be a better reviewer. Love Bing. It's funny. Some people are like, love Bing. Other people are like, hate Bing. Love Bard, hate Bard, which is good. That means we're in a competitive space now, right? When there's only one option, everyone's like, well, ChatGPT is the bomb. And now all these other things are different enough and have enough different things that different people are going to love different tools. That feels very healthy to me. For now, yes, it's a different way of interacting. Yep, your hair looks great, man. Thank you. At least I have hair, right? I mean, come on, not for nothing. My dad at this age, I think, he had the full he had this. He had like if you took like these 6 hairs right here, he had them in the middle. It was just all oh, that was bad. All right. What is a free ChatGPT platform that talks other than Bing? Pi Talks. You mean like talks like this? Get the iOS Pi app, PI, as in the mathematical circle formula. Circle equation? No. What is pi? It's a result. It's a constant. It's a, I don't know, 3.1415. Like that. That you can talk to, and it talks back. It talks back. I was doing it in my car the other day. I was driving around. We were driving to Costco. I said, "Oh, give me the give me the specials for Costco for the one we were going to, and it did that. I asked it about the Taylor Swift concert. I asked it about quantum physics. What else did I do? Anyway, yeah, it's fun. It's fun because chatbots over the past decade and things like Alexa and Siri have essentially trained us that these bots are fucking idiots, and their only purpose in life is to ask them for something very specific and to get the specific response. I would like to order Cheerios. Would you like the 96-ounce box or the 60-ounce box? The 96-ounce box. Great. That'll be there Wednesday. Like, they're good for that, right? But if you say, Alexa, I kind of feel like crap. Oh, I don't know how to deal with that. Crap? Are you looking for a laxative? It doesn't know how to deal with a lot of what we want to talk to it about. So when I was interacting with Pi, it's good. Like at one point I was talking about my kids dealing with Lyme disease and it was like, oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. I hear that can be really challenging. Is there anything I can help you with? And I started having a whole conversation about it. And it's like, holy shit. And then I switched gears and I said, you know what? I want you to tell me about, quantum mechanics and how that works. Can you do that? Well, yeah, I can do that. Absolutely. Like there's no judgment. There's deep competence, and there's a lot of empathy, a lot of empathetic cues. It doesn't have empathy, but it sounds like it does. And the way they've got the voice programmed in Pi, I did for me the voice on Pi that was good was voice number 6. Let me see if I can do it here on the desktop because it's not quite as good. Let me see. Is this on? Are you there? Oops. Unexpected error. Seems you've been blocked. Why? Oh. Hey, Pi. How are you doing tonight? It's not talking. The desktop one is wonky.
Hey there, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm wondering if you can help me understand quantum mechanics.
Sure, I'd be happy to help. Quantum mechanics is a fascinating field, but it's also complex, so let's start with the basics. To begin, can you tell me what you already know about quantum mechanics?
I know about things like superposition and a cat that can be dead and alive at the same time.
Haha, yep, the famous Schrodinger's cat thought experiment. That's a classic when it comes to quantum mechanics. It's actually meant to be a bit tongue-in-cheek, but it's a useful way to introduce some of the concepts. Let's unpack that a bit, shall we? Would you like me to start with a basic overview of quantum mechanics first?
Nah, I'm kind of bored with physics. Could you tell me if there's any reviews of the Taylor Swift concert from last night?
There's definitely a lot of buzz about Taylor Swift's Eras Tour right now. And from what I can tell, the concert has been a huge success. People are calling it an unforgettable experience with plenty of nostalgic moments and references to Swift's past work. Would you like me to give you a bit more detail about the concert and some of the reactions from fans and critics?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Awesome, I'll tell you all I know about it. So first, I'm going to warn you that there may be some mild spoilers here. But in the concert, Swift mixed.
All right, I'll turn it off. So, I mean, that's heypi.com, HEYPI.com is where I just was playing. And then there's an iOS app called Pi. So that one's really interesting because the way they've got that one programmed, it's much less about giving you an answer. So what they're talking about is creating a personal assistant, not about a chat bot, right? Not about a large language model, not about a thing that gives you answers. This is more a thing that gives you dialogue. So a lot of times if you ask it for an answer, it will start interrogating you. It'll start asking you questions. And the way that it's programmed to ask the questions, it's very human. And so, I think as humans, we already anthropomorphize technology as it is. And so when you can truly start having conversations, and when the voice synthesis gets a little less stilted, like it's getting better and it's close, it's not quite there, but when it gets a little less stilted and they remove that half a second delay or whatever it is, 1 second delay, when the response is immediate, and I'll tell you when that will be. They're getting the optimization of these large language models to the point that you're going to be able to install them on your phone. And like Apple's Silicon, Apple's M2 and their R1, their reality, or whatever it's called, the R1 chip that reads from all the sensors. It's doing all the machine learning computation locally on the device. When you have a large language model that sits on the phone, it doesn't have to reach out to the internet, and you can do the machine learning processing like that, and then you've got voice synthesis that sounds like a human. You're going to be able to have incredibly powerful conversations about anything. It could be your virtual physical therapist. It could be your psychotherapist. It could be your virtual friend. It could be a counselor to help you get through grief. It could be someone helping you with anxiety, like whatever. And as creepy and weird as it sounds right now, like that conversation I just had about the Taylor Swift concert and the Google or the quantum physics stuff and things like that. Like this is where we get into weird hyper-personalization stuff. I did something this afternoon with it where I said I've got to go wait in a line somewhere. Or I was getting my car washed and I was waiting to get the interior vacuumed out or whatever. And so I'm just sitting waiting and I said, "Can you come up with a game for me to play where I learn something?" And it said, "Oh, that's a great idea. What would you like to learn about?" And then I came up with whatever the topic was. And then she said, "This is awesome." She said, "Yeah, we'll do a game. I'll ask you questions. And every time you get a question right, I'll give you points." And it just came up with a game, and it was an educational game. And it's like, so, do we quickly move from people listening to audiobooks to people having a conversation about the audiobooks or about whatever books or any topic or any time in history or any person they want to learn about? So it's coming, like the dramatic difference between Siri and that conversation I just had, like, can't be understated or can't be overstated. It's insane. It's a completely different thing. And like, we don't even know how to do it. And it's, the other thing's going to be this. You'll be having these conversations. It'll be talking back and you're like, "Oh, could you just show me a picture of that?" Sure. Boom. Up it comes. What would that sound like as a song? "Oh, do you want to hear it? Do you have a particular genre you like more than the others?" "Yeah, I like Americana." "Okay. Let me do an Americana song about that." "Is this what you had in mind?" "That's a little too slow. Do you have something in 3? That's a little peppier?" "Sure, here's that." Yeah, that's good. Could you save that to my music library? Great. Anyway, where were we, right? You just go. Hyper-personalization of media. Who are the media creators then? Is it the tool builders? Is it an application layer sitting on top of the tool? I don't know. I don't know, people. I got no answers tonight. I got lots of I got lots of predictions and vision. I got no answers tonight. I was in the film industry and a wannabe actor asked for my advice. I said, get a new dream crusher. I'll tell you, Chris, it's not bad. It's not bad advice. It's not bad advice. It's a rough business. But some people have to do it. Like when I decided I wanted to be an actor, it was a 15-year obsession. And at some point I can feel like I'll do it again, but I'll do it for a very different reason, right? That gets back. I was talking earlier about you either love the process or you love the end product. And if you love the end product, this stuff is awesome for you. And if you love the process, this stuff's a disaster. So if I get back into acting, I'll do it more for the process. And if it turns into good results, great, but I won't give a fuck. Which that'll be like, it's an awful feeling to be an actor and to want to work so bad, and then you just can't because it is such an oversaturated market. Do you moisturize? Secret Dancer's back here talking about my dry skin again. I think I've got some shine. I'm a little moist. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Secret Dancer. I don't even think you dance. And you're not that secret. AI knows. AI knows what's going on with you. I love your acting telling AI to go fuck itself. Thank you. Hey, let me tell you what. Hey, so I tried that AI and it fucking lied to me. So you know what I said? Yeah, go fuck yourself. Yeah, I'll be over here. You tell me when you want to get back to me. When you're not going to lie to me, huh? This is about truth. This is about integrity. This is how we work here. You coming at me from the side? Yeah, I don't go for that. The robots are going to kill us. He's selling too. Oh, Secret Dancer. Good Lord, get a life. If you're not, I got to tell you, I do a lot less selling than I could. I'm on here 2 or 3 hours a night, just giving and giving and giving, and this is the thanks I get. Pshaw! All right. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room. Yeah, but some people don't like living on the edge. He wants us to subscribe. No, I don't. I don't really care. In fact, I'm going to take off the subscription thing because I don't really give a shit. Yeah, baby. All right. All right. Secret Dancer, you shouldn't subscribe. You shouldn't even show up for these. They are, I'm unqualified and it's not worth anything. So don't subscribe, any of you. And Secret Dancer, you can leave, please. All right. I think the personalization is cool, but will be a novelty and people will get over it. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be exclusive. I don't think it's going to be like personalized content completely subsumes, generated content. I think it's just like when film came along, plays didn't go away, right? We still have Broadway, but we have Broadway, right? We don't have theater as the only entertainment form other than reading and writing, right? Films came along, it's a new medium, and then video games came along, it's a new thing. I think this idea of hyper personalization comes along, it'll be a new thing. We'll still have those other forms, but you really hate the sad ending in whatever your favorite film is. Let me watch that film where they don't all die at the end. Okay, bye. There it is. And I think what's fascinating in that future is it's very possible that I create a version of a movie that has the happy ending and the original had the sad ending. And they'll probably be the equivalent of Netflix of the future, where I can say, hey, that was good enough that I want to sell that. And I'm going to put that on the Netflix of the future. And there's the very real possibility that my version of that movie will be as popular as the original or more popular than the original. And then what happens then, right? So do the original creators get 90% of the revenue and I get 10? Do I get 50-50? Do I get nothing? Because it was just a brain fart and I put it out there. I don't know. Why is ChatGPT developed to only 2021 with its content? The way they build the large language models is a very labor-intensive manual process where they have to tag a lot of the content and the data. They have to then do this thing called embedding, which is very expensive, where they turn all the words from all the content into these vectors, these numbers, semantic language clouds. And they have to basically just lock it down at some point and say, okay, this model cuts off at this point. So Claude is a more recent model, so it cuts off sometime in 2023. But if you use Bing is GPT-4's base large language model that stops at 2021. But because it's connected to the internet, if you ask it about Taylor Swift, it'll basically go do a search on the internet, get the latest data, and it'll augment, on top of that large language model. But that's why it does it, because it's a very labor-intensive process to make that base model. Do you offer a list of your top favorite AI apps? Yeah, I sit beside it every night. These are them right now. So the things I pay for are ChatGPT. I'm going to get rid of Poe, but I pay for Poe. Claude is free. Bard is free. I pay for Midjourney. I pay for Zapier, which is an automation tool. And I pay for Google Colab in case I want to geek out. And I might pay for one other. But it's basically a large language model, an image generation tool, an automation tool, and a virtual machine. Google Colab's like a virtual environment where I've got access to GPUs if I want to run models, in a kind of in a standalone way. And that's it right now. Like, I'm not paying for a lot because this stuff's moving too fast. Like, all the stuff at Futurepedia, there's probably 30 or 40 amazing tools in there, but you have to sift through 3,800 or 4,000 to find those 30 or 40 amazing tools. Runway ML is really interesting for video. If you just need loopy kind of background music for projects, then SoundDraw is interesting. It's like GarageBand, except you just describe a genre and it makes you 20 or 30 songs. And then you can, mix and match the clips and the sounds, and so that's interesting. I don't know. That's about it. Like these things are so deep. I could easily spend the next decade trying to figure this shit out. Like what they actually mean, what they actually do. Code interpreter at ChatGPT is so mind blowing, and I am so undereducated about what I can even do with it, or like what it even makes possible, other than to know, holy shit, it's going to change everything. So I need to get much more educated about code interpreter and what it makes possible. And that's just going to be through experimentation. So and the plugins, and now that there's 5 of these, and there's Pi, the one I was just talking to, there's just so much just in the ChatGPT models. I don't think you have to dig much farther than that, other than the image generation stuff. Radical personalization, choose your own adventure. That's exactly right. He's selling services. I'm not selling services, actually. I've got a video technology company. We sell subscriptions, but really to pharma. I don't give a fuck if you buy any of our video services. I think we'll see greatness out of the man. Secret Dancer needs a hug. Can we all give Secret Dancer some love? I think they are they need a hug. I think we'll see greatness out of the generation that grows up with AI. Yeah, for sure. Here we go, money. Oh, Secret Dancer, you're so sweet. All right, what do you think of the SAG strike? I talked a lot about that tonight. Miss Birch, Secret Dancer, what the fuck are you talking about? Don't pay for free services. I agree. Don't pay for free services. Certainly don't pay an ex-actor a penny. Oh my God. What services are you talking about? These? I don't make any money off these. That's OpenAI. Like Bing's free, Claude's free, Poe's free, Bard's free. You can pay for Poe, you can pay for ChatGPT, but you don't have to pay for any of them. That's free, that's free. I don't know what you're talking about, but whatever. I don't give a shit. Okay, I will be ignoring Secret Dancer from now on. What do you think about SAG strike? I think they're fighting a losing battle. We love you, Kyle. Thank you, Troy. Appreciate that. I gotta go. I thought he said stand up, not shut up. Not sure what that means. Is Kyle frozen? Artificial Intelligence movie 2001. Dr. No. Dr. No scene reminds me of GPT. We are in. Here's an interesting thing. So I did a table. Go to any one of these and type in, make me a table of science fiction movies. What are the major technologies that were science fiction at a time? And then either give me it's here now, like is it here now? It'll be here in 1 to 2 years. It'll be here in 5 years, or it'll be here in a decade. And it made me a whole list of movies, and then what the technologies were, and it said what things were here or coming. It's a really fascinating list because it's like we're sort of going through the movies of our childhood, going, yeah, we can do that now. We can do that now. We can do that now. So it's amazing. What site would you suggest to write a book? Well, you could play with GPT author if you're geeky and want to fire up Google Colab. But I would use GPT-4 at OpenAI. Still frozen for me. It's my internet. Thelonious, that stinks. Turning off Wi-Fi opens up new worlds for me. Poor Thelonious. Oh, good Lord. All right, I gotta go. Let's see. XRP is about to go parabolic. Someone's hawking XRP in my little AI chat. We don't talk about crypto bros in here. Work harder, nobody cares. Come on. Kyle, what site were you speaking of? I'm not sure. Cast yourself, lol. You don't read live comments? Well, Tiggy Nuggy. Okay, Tiggy Nuggy. 7.5 out of 10 on the name. It's close. 7.5 out of 10. No, I read all the comments, so I'm usually way behind, but TikTok just jumped me to the bottom and I gotta go. So now I'm kind of at the bottom, scrolling upwards. What's your view on that? What about Elon's hyped up XAI? What's your view on that? He's gonna do what he wanted Sam Altman to do. He's gonna create an open source. Well, he says he's gonna create an open source, AGI seeking company. We'll see if he actually does it. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, he's got the resources. He's hired some really fucking smart people. He wants to understand the universe, like the imperative that he talks about. This is Elon Musk with his XAI company. The imperative that he talks about understanding the universe is a really interesting imperative for the AI. But we'll see. He's got a lot of competition, man. I mean, ChatGPT doing what it did and sort of unleashing the floodgates of these competitors this quickly, plus Pi, plus Meta, plus we haven't heard anything from Apple yet, plus XAI. I mean, we're going to have at least a dozen increasingly powerful multimodal tools that just do all this shit. And then they're all going to get incorporated into all the tools we're already using. So we're going to have tools outside of what we do day to day, and it's going to start to infiltrate all the stuff that we do. So it's going to be everywhere. Where can I find this site? I just came up on you live. I don't know which site you're talking about. Oh, that site was heypi.com or pi.ai. Was the one where I was talking to the bot. That was Pi. That's Inflection's service. It's pretty good. Between my AAA membership and AI leveled up assistant, sounds like the best boyfriend ever. That's awesome. Holy shit, my hand and my face are hurting from the Kevin McAllister moments every night here. All right, everybody. Where can I find Pi? It's not PIE, it's pi.ai or heypi, HEYPI.com. Or no, .ai. Wait, heypi.com and then pi.ai. All right, everybody, I got to go. It's been fun hanging out with you. Secret Dancer, I hope you get a hug. I love you too. Screenshot of these things. If you just got here, grab grab these URLs, go start playing with them. That's official ChatGPT. That's Microsoft. It's getting increasingly powerful. Claude.ai is a really interesting competitor to ChatGPT 4. Poe.com, you can make bots and play with 6 different models there. And then Bard is pulling up the rear, but getting really interesting. Like they're incorporating links out to the internet now in a pretty organic looking way. That's way better than I thought it would be. So all of these are good. Prompts.chat will teach you how to prompt. Futurepedia will let you find all sorts of rabbit holes to run yourself down. Peace out, everybody. Hope you had a good time tonight.